Pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
President Moreno.
Here.
Director Johnson. Director Clayton.
Here.
Director Adams.
Here.
Director Brown.
Before we begin, I would like to briefly address the incident that happened last Thursday. I would like to reiterate that our hearts are with the Peterson family. What they are currently facing is something none of us would ever want to experience. A GoFundMe is currently active. I, as well as a few others at the airport, have contributed to it. It's great to see everyone here, and I urge you all to take a look at that campaign and contribute if you can. If you are here to give public comment on this issue, you have the right to do so. However, investigations are currently underway, so further comments by board members and staff will be reserved until those investigations are concluded. Thank you. Moving on to item number 1, minutes of the regular meeting held April 25th, 2024.
President Moreno, I reviewed them, I would go and be an active accountable and suggest they be approved.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item number 2, committee reports.
Mr. President, you were executive committee met on the 2nd of May to set the agenda for this meeting. On the 7th, your safety and security committee met, viewed the presentation we hope to have to this evening with Chief Dandridge, and the real estate committee met and learned all about lot line adjustments in connection with the G3 project.
Any questions before moving on? Moving on to item number 3, general manager's report.
So, Mr. President, on the 30th of April, the annual runway safety action team met. This is a group led by ATC, Madison and Tower, and Serco personnel, FAA, both air traffic and airport folks and stakeholders meet on an annual basis and discuss airfield safety. Discuss some vehicle pedestrian incidents in the last 12 months and how we can make it better. One positive thing that's came out of that I'd like to report is you'll see on your facility directory of the airfield, there are hotspots. These are what are identified where you have just geometry, excuse me, on the airfield that can cause conflicts and potential issues. So the most recent runway project, or excuse me, taxiway project, relieved that hotspot number 1. So we have one less hotspot on the airport because of that project. So I'm just happy to report that. On the 1st, you and I met with Chief Dandridge, talking about what the plans are for the fire department, what we thought we might like to hear today and what would come up. On the 8th, we met with SoCal Gas. We're working on a pipeline realignment. You well know that SoCal Gas has a major pipeline that runs essentially from the north side of the hotel across the apron, across the parallel taxiway, and cuts the corner of the runway, which is like the last place you want a gas main, a high pressure trunk line for pressurized gas. So we are actively working on with SoCal to realign that outside of the airfield, outside the perimeter fencing, what our plan is. So they would no longer have to come on the airfield, would no longer be an issue. We're hoping by the end of September might actually be able to break ground and get everything in place. Of course, we had several meetings with Fish and Wildlife, state and federal, as we've been doing since I got here. And hopefully that's coming to a conclusion soon. And Tom Wiggerell and I will be meeting with Customs, their senior management in the region headquarters in Long Beach next week, as we prepare to kick off our general aviation customs facility. That's all that.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions from the board? No. Moving on to item number 4, Manager of Finance and Administration Report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I provided the demand register for your review and approval.
Make a motion to be approved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anything else?
No, that is all I have to know.
Moving on to item number 5, public session. Statements from the floor will be heard during public session. Request to speak forms are provided for those wishing to address the board. After completing the form, please give it to the clerk. Requests requiring board action will be referred to staff and brought on the next appropriate agenda. Members of the public are cordially invited to speak on agenda items as they occur. Staff reports covering agenda items are available for review in the offices of the general manager on Tuesday prior to each meeting. The board will establish a time limit for receipt of testimony, in this case, 3 minutes. The board reserves the right to establish further time limits for receipt of testimony.
Mr. President, if I could just clarify that this is intended for non-agendized items. And if someone wishes to speak on any agendized item, there'll be a public comment for that specific item at that time.
So the only one that I don't have an agendized item for is Joe Ryman. Joe Ryman, is this for resolution 930?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is. Okay, so we'll hold off on that. Moving on. Item number 6, presentation by Santa Maria Fire Chief Brad Dandridge regarding Station 6 at the Santa Maria Public Airport District. Come on up, Chief.
Mr. President, members of the board, my name is Brad Andrews, and I'm the fire chief for the Santa Maria Fire Department. Thank you for having me here tonight. This evening, I want to take the opportunity to discuss the services we currently provide for the airport and the city, review our current contract, and propose additional enhanced services to support and better provide for the future growth of the airport and surrounding areas at no additional cost to you, the district. First, I want to take the time to share a brief history of the fire department, how we came into existence, what we currently have and provide for you in the city, and what we're looking at going in the future. Brief history: in 1884, everyone knows the prevailing winds that we have here in Santa Maria Valley. In 1884, there was a big fire. It burned every building northeast block of Broadway and Main. It was fought with a proverbial bucket brigade. Everyone has seen those in the movies of the Westerns. You just line up with a bucket and try to get as much water on whatever was on fire. In 1897, the first organized volunteer fire department was established here in the valley. They used hand-drawn carts. And in 1900, the Santa Maria Hotel fire caught on fire. The Santa Maria Hotel, caught on fire. It was located on Broadway and Main. And once again, the bucket brigade went into action, but to little or no avail. They were unable to extinguish the fire in the Santa Maria Hotel. Burned down. In 1904, they saw the benefits of a professional fire department, and Arthur McLaughlin was appointed as the first fire chief. He earned a whopping $10 a month for his efforts. And the volunteer firefighters that responded to fires were not compensated at that time. In 1905, when those Santa Maria was incorporated, and they bought a bell from Presbyterian Church, which sounded the alarms for all ensuing fires from then on. In 1911, Dean Laughlin became the fire chief, and he doubled the salary that was being paid to the previous chief, and he was getting paid $20 a month. And the reserves and volunteer firefighters at that time were actually compensated $2 a fire for every time that they would come out and respond. The first fire station was built. It was a small building leased from the Santa Maria Gas Department. It was built on the 100 block of Lincoln Street, downtown. And in relation to the year 1957, a new fire station was built at the Santa Maria Airport. It was actually staffed with Bennington and Field 3. We also staffed a crash truck, which is the one that responds to aircraft emergency. That was owned by the airport district. This is a quick picture that I wanted to add over here. This is a 1912 touring car that was modified. It was the Santa Maria Fire Department's first fire engine. It was actually red. It carried 1,000 feet of hose, 2 ladders, axis, and bicycle. The mix of soda and acid actually caused the pressure that propelled the water when they went out for quick fire attacks. Today, this is the boundaries of the city of Santa Maria. As you see in the highlighted areas, it's approximately 23 square miles. You have a population in 2022 of approximately 110,000. You'll see there the different colors, the blue, green, purple, which is the airport. There's a gray highlighted area at the bottom. I'll address that in a little bit. The darker red or salmon color, those are just the different districts. The yellow and the purple up on the top right. Those are different districts that we have that we respond from within the city today. We respond the city of Santa Maria, Orchid, Guadalupe, and Como, some of the unincorporated areas. And we're also part of a statewide master mutual aid system. What that is when the state has these campaign fires and they need help, they reach out to the different fire departments to see if there's any availability, send resources to assist in those fire suppression. And we're part of that. The services that we provide here within the city, traditional structural wildland firefighting, EMS at the first EMS response at the basic level, hazmat responses, low angle rescues, so water vehicle extrication. We also have life safety programs in our prevention department regarding inspections, plan reviews. We have public education and prevention programs. And most importantly today that we're discussing, we provide the ARP services, which is the aircraft rescue and firefighting. This is our org chart. My apologies to the members of the audience that it is so small up there. But basically it says we have a fire chief on top and I have 3 divisions. I have a fire prevention, operations, and training. And it just gives a breakdown of what we currently provide with the fire department. Our operations staff, we have an A, B, and C shift. And we're staffed currently with 3 battalion chiefs, 19 captains, 21 engineers and armed specialists, and 21 firefighters. We have a minimum daily staffing of 20, and what that means is at any given day, there's always at least 20 people on duty. Today, as we speak, we started a recruit academy for 9 entry-level firefighters that are in their recruit academy now. Once they graduate, I've been given the authority to open up another engine to provide better service in the city, and we'll have a minimum daily staffing of 23. That'll come in 3 months. These are our department stats, and as you can see, the biggest things, total emergency incidents that we respond to as the Santa Maria Fire Department. From 2021 to 2023, you see that there's been a steady increase on emergency incident calls that we respond to. Santa Maria is the largest city in Santa Barbara County. Santa Maria is also the only city that has area to grow. And they have projections, depending on where you're looking at, depending 25 to 40,000 people over the next 25 to 30 years. We're trying to stay in it. Currently, I deploy and respond my current apparatus on 6 fire stations located strategically throughout the city. Our fire station 1 is downtown at 300 West Cook Street. It's our biggest station. There it houses a truck, and the truck is a ladder truck. Sometimes people get confused about all engines or trucks, but they're actually different. A truck has a big ladder. And the purpose of that is to be able to access some of the high rises 3 stories and above that we are building here within the city. We have one located at Station 1 downtown. We also have the engines, which are Type 1s, and that's the engine on the bottom left. And we have a breathing support at any fires that we go to. We need something there to be able to refill our bottles so we can continue our work. And we also house a reserve engine there just in case when any of our frontline apparatus goes down. Our fire station 2 respond from 416 West Harmon. They responded approximately to 2,600 calls last year. At that station, we have that same Type 1 engine running, but we also have a USAR engine. And what is a USAR engine? The USAR engine is an urban search and rescue. They're the specialized equipment that we have just in case there are any of those special collapses, building collapses, whatever the case may be, earthquakes. They're the ones that are trained at an additional level to be able to go in there and do specialized extrications. The majority of our department, actually, we're very well trained in that USAR, and the majority of my firefighters right now are currently trained in the USAR. So Fire Station 3 responds out of Redford Lane up on the north. They ran approximately 2650 calls. There it only houses the frontline apparatus in type 1. Fire Station 4 runs out of College, just in the southern portion. Ran approximately 1700 calls. There it houses frontline engine as well as the reserve apparatus that is housed there. Fire Station 5 runs out of Donovan. It's at the northeast portion of the city. There it houses our engine 5 and engine 305, and I'll elaborate a little bit further there. Engine 5, once again, is that type 1 engine that you see running up and down the streets of Santa Maria. We also have a reserve apparatus, but at the bottom right, you look there, it's engine 305. That's our type 3 engine. Those type 3 engines are typically the ones that go out on these wildland campaigns. They have the capabilities of going off-road. Here, for example, around the airport district, we have the eucalyptus trees that are out there. If any of those were ever to be in danger of fire or anything else, that would be the piece of apparatus that would be able to be best fit to be able to go off-road to address those emergencies. And lastly, Airport Fire Station 6, the one that we just have down the street here, when we have Terminal Drive. Their houses are frontline artillery, which you own as a district. You are the owners of these two pieces of apparatus. Frontline rig is one you see on the left, and our reserve artillery and ARP is for the airport rescue firefighting. They're the ones that respond for the public. They're the ones that respond, and they are mandated to stay here on the airport property, just in case any airplane emergency. I also have a prevention staff. I just wanted to add this in here, not to leave out my prevention division. As you can see, they have different responsibilities. They do development reviews, plan checks, but they also do our fire investigations, and they're quite busy. I have a staff of 4 that does inspections with the fire marshal. I've shared with you how we've come about the Santa Maria Fire Department. I've shared with you currently what we currently provide for you in the city right now. Where do we go from here? Before I came here a year ago, the fire chiefs in the county, 6 fire chiefs, came into an agreement where they were doing the closest unit response. What does that mean for the community? It means that regardless of jurisdiction, we have entered into an agreement that the closest, most appropriate unit will respond. It is beneficial for the community, meaning there is never any delays based on jurisdictions. Whatever company is closest to that emergency, most appropriate, will respond regardless of jurisdiction. We also went into a regional dispatch center. We also went in together with a regional dispatch. There's currently a dispatch center that's being built in Santa Barbara. Its primary goal is to dispatch all the emergency medical and fire emergencies in the county. So all EMS and all fire related will go through there. What's the benefit of that? Better, quicker response, most appropriate. Next, you see on there is training. As firefighters, we're mandated to have a minimum of 240 hours of training. One of the things that I've done is I bolstered my training department, where I added a sworn training officer to oversee the delivery of training that we have for our members. I also brought in a civilian training coordinator that's coordinating all the training. I did this so we could standardize and keep track and better track the training that we do conduct because we train. So we're ready to respond to any emergency and prepared to provide the service that we do. Also, expansion of service. I've been authorized, I shared with you before, to add a type 1 engine company to the city. And then you see here also relocation of Station 2. Why am I doing those 3 things? ISO rating. In August of 2024 here, we're currently class 3 ISO at 73.85 points. We're 6.15 points away from a class 2. ISO can benefit everyone, you at the airport, businesses, residents, because it can benefit sometimes the insurance rates that are there. So the insurance companies take a look at what ISO is, and the better the ISO rating, the better that we have for the residents community of Santa Maria. I shared this map with you earlier. Station 2, excuse me, which is the blue section, you see how big that is. Our Station 1 is the reddish orange, right in the middle. Station 3 is to the left, with Station 5 is the purplish on the north east, and I have Station 4, which is green, And the purple in the middle below the blue is actually the airport. And if you notice, there's highlighted gray area in the further south, that's actually within the city limits. But it's gray because we have auto aid right now with the County Fire Station 21, which is the one down below, because they're actually the closest unit that can respond to provide service to that area. With the addition of a new engine, this is the new map that I've tentatively come up with that better covers the city, the residents of the community for any emergency. This map right here is a 4-minute response from anywhere. And if you notice, we moved the engine to the blue section from this location on Carmen right off of Broadway to the west off of Blossom. That's for future development that's being proposed and actually been approved with the city on Blossom and going to the south. Also, all the area moving to the west, when and if and when we do grow that way, which I believe we will with the projected growth, we have better deployment models with where our current stations are located. I'm also highlighting the yellow section down below because that's why I'm here today. I'm looking at housing and responding an engine out of our current fire station 6 here in the airport. It allows us, as I said before, to have the best deployment model, and this actually solidifies the response to this within the city of San Maria for the upcoming years. I wanted to highlight a little bit of our contracts. Currently, we have an agreement for aircraft rescue and firefighting with the armed services. The contract is going to be expiring in June of 2026. In this contract, some of the highlights that I pulled up, the district responsibilities in section 4 is fund individual training up to 12 city firefighters as ARP qualified members. Also fund an annual ARP live burn fire drill. That's actually going to be occurring at the end of this month. Thank you very much for providing for that. Also, it says in the section is provide and fund operations and maintenance costs for the associated with district-owned vehicles. As I stated before, the 2 vehicles that you own are the frontline ARP rig as well as the backup. And also fund costs of any ARP-related equipment. Our city responsibilities in section 3 is to provide 1 ARP trained and qualified member on the airport property 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as I mentioned before. That ARP specialist is out there, an ARP engineer that is stationed currently is not allowed off the airport premises, excuse me. 3.9 says we provide additional city emergency response resources from existing fire stations to support our operations. We also provide additional resources for staging purposes at airport for the NSV flights. What we currently do right now is anytime that you're utilizing the airport, I come set up the station. So that way, if there were any emergencies, we're proactive and we're ready there to provide. And on section 3.24, it says with the fire station and our facilities on airport exclusively for housing personnel and equipment for ARP and other permitted airport emergency services. It also says or ID contracted ambulance, fire suppression, rescue, home support equipment, and or personnel. Another section that says miscellaneous provisions. Section 7.8, there will be no payment by the district for extra services rendered by the city unless the services are expressly authorized in writing by the departments, the district's general manager before the services are performed. Also in here, it says provided any extra services in excess of $10,000 require written approval of you, the district's board members. Why do I bring that up? Because today, once again, my proposal to you is when I do have the authorization of the 9 firefighters that do graduate in 3 months, hit the field, I get to open another engine. As I shared with you before, the different models, it makes the most sense to be able to house that engine here at Fire Station 6 to be able to respond. Some of the benefits that I believe that you will see. It supports the future growth of the airport district and development of these surrounding areas that you have. It also allows us for a quick response time to emergencies on the airport grounds and surrounding areas. Medical aids at the hotel, the Radisson, excuse me. Medical aids, traffic accidents around and on and around the airport premises that allows us to respond in a quicker, more efficient manner. The example that I give here is we have 1, 2, and 3. We always provide a response If you notice here, some of the commonalities is we will always respond to at least one engine. That one engine currently comes from either station 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. And as you can see, there's a drive time associated with those. Allowing the proposed housing of an engine at Station 6 allows us to eliminate that response time because we have an engine, type of engine currently housed staff here within the airport premises. I also believe it'll add added security. We have 24-hour responses going in and out, more people, more activity at the airport. I believe it's a deterrent to some of the activity that might be going on the outside. And I share this with you because most importantly, I understand the times that we have today. I'm proposing absolutely all this, a better service model to you, the airport, and no additional cost to you. Today, I go back, I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation in 1957, the fire station was built here on the airport premises, housed by 3 people that ran with an engine and provided airport service with the traffic. I'm saying 67 years later, I'm back here as a fire chief, asking for the proposal to allow me to open a Type 1 engine providing enhanced service to the district and surrounding areas from the current airport Station 6 and initiate discussion for the renewal of the airport agreement, aircraft, rescue and firefighting agreement services. And once again, all this at no cost. Does anyone have any questions?
Three months?
3 months, we have a recruit academy that just started. It's a 12-week academy. They're in week, they're finishing their week 2, so we have 3.5 months left before they're over.
How much do your stations usually run when you put in a new fire station? How much do you usually go for?
When you're talking about the construction of the new fire station,
Right.
is that what you're asking? Typically, when we're looking, ranging from 10 to 12 million dollars.
What would be plan B?
Plan B, would be a less than desirable service model, just in regards to the service. But once again, I've been authorized by the city to open another engine that will provide. Plan B would be, we would just house it in one of the other different stations. But when I look at Plan B, when we look at things like that, I don't see the benefit that it would have for the airport or the surrounding communities.
Anyone else?
No.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 7, presentation by Jason Hargreaves, Tartell Engineering, providing an update of airport improvement projects.
Mr. President, unfortunately, Total Engineering have a scheduling conflict here tonight. My hope is to have them at the next meeting for the following. Provide you all with an update of where we're at with various projects.
Moving on to item number 8, discussion and direction of staff regarding a request for rent abatement from Hardcraft Paint for operational costs incurred for ongoing flooding and roof leaks.
For me, perhaps I should start with some background regarding the Big Hangar. You step outside right now and look that direction, you'll see roofing hanging off the side that we decided was safe currently, and we didn't want risking personnel by trying to do it at this point. That roof should have been repaired 20 years ago. The district's are band-aiding it, and we think the only Band-Aid left is a proper roof. So we will, we already have specs drafted. I don't have an formal engineer's estimate, but it's, what they told me is not inexpensive, looking at $1 million. But I don't see any other way. There's no, we are at the end of the can is kicked down to the end of the cul-de-sac. It should have been done 20 years ago. We've discussed some more long-term arrangements on how to, perhaps facilitate private investment in that area. Long-term leasing, now everything's month to month. But that's gonna take time, and the roof isn't gonna last that long. So with that said, you and I both know, because we've been over there and met with, the Artcraft, senior management. And, every time it rains, it's leaking from a different place. So that's why Band-Aids aren't gonna work anymore. And I don't know if this district has ever done something like this before, but Artcraft is, essentially asking us to reimburse them for the costs they've incurred dealing with leaking and flooding, because of the condition of the roof. And I bring it to you for your consideration and direction.
Do we have a number?
It is the number on the letter from Kevin Yates is 25, just over $25,000. Minimally today, and it rained since then. But this is a decision you all have to make. It's obviously beyond my authority.
When will we have those bids?
Well, we hope to have the bid package to you at the next meeting. So then you go through a 30-day bidding process. But that would be hopefully the solution to stop this from leaking. Of course, the matter in hand is costs incurred today because of the condition.
You know, reading through their agreement with Artcraft or anybody else, we're indemnified for anything that happens. So, I mean, you know, we need to put a roof on it, we need to get into their rates and everything else, and probably adjust those at the time the roof is on. I mean, I'm not in support of doing it at all.
Michelle, decoration.
Yeah, it's for what? I didn't get the last words.
No, I'm not in support of 152.
So the,
Because, I mean, their agreement, if you read through it, identifies the airport and any damage that can occur. So,
Well, I think the roof is a liability to the airport. It needs to be fixed. I'm pretty sure about that.
we need to fix it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not pretty sure of that.
At the end of the day, it is our house. So,
Yeah.
and we have a bid package that we go out.
If we say yes to one of those bids, how fast can we get a roof on that, you think?
I don't have a schedule, but the goal would be to have it for the next.
Rain,
Yeah.
for the next rain.
Hopefully it stops raining and we have it done this summer sometime.
do you have any update on the private investment group, private investment group that we've been?
Still working on it. But that's a long term, I mean, several years to get through the process of whatever whatever it is we decide to do, because this is in its infancy. Then whatever comes of that process, that party needs to actually put together plans and stuff. It's not going to get done before the next set of rains. Now, one way of thinking of this is, okay, the district can invest $1 million or whatever the number ends up being. And then that just works into that bottom line of whatever the long-term solution is. There's a way to, in the rent structure, recoup some revenue. My word is if we use the building.
If we don't fix it.
That's probably good.
And that has ramifications I don't want to think about right now.
I agree, we should fix the roof. I'm all for that. So we just need to get the bids to get the best bid in there and let's fix it and move forward. Yeah, I agree. As fast as we can. I'm up for that. That sounds like we're 20 years late. Let's do it.
You know, one option you might have regarding the immediate issue is perhaps, this doesn't sound like you're gonna have with all three of you have to support it tonight. Perhaps it could be, not table, but consider in the near future, if you wish to reconsider that with the board present. But I think that from the district standpoint, you gotta get from our craft standpoint as well, they need the roof to stop leaking. And we need it to stop leaking as well. So that's really where my motivation is right now, to get that bid package.
You know, just need the bids together, pick the right one, and let's say yes and go.
If I could weigh in as legal counsel, my recommendation would be if there's any interest from any of the board members of the moving forward on this request, that perhaps it would make sense for the board generally to direct Mr. Powell and myself to have further conversations with our craft about the basis for the request, review the obligations of the release, and then the provision that you refer to, and be able to bring something back to the board where we can incorporate necessary legal considerations along with the potential decision before in one way or the other.
Good point, because I would not want to put our craft in a position where they feel we need to take some legal action. We don't need that relationship with them. We need to work with them.
Agreed. So let's go ahead and get those meetings set up and get the bid packages ready. And once we have those, and once we have further communications, we'll have full board to continue with the decisions. Agreed? Yes.
Yes. Maybe at the next meeting, would we that quickly with the bids?
That would be a question for him.
Martin, do you know how long it take to get the bids?
Can you turn up the volume a little bit? So we can.
We can't hear.
You know how long it take to get the bids?
I mean, actually, it was started almost.
Okay, please.
Okay.
Yeah, as you can see, they are on.
Okay, yeah.
Michael, you just need to speak into it.
So if we have it to, you have it to the next meeting, we can start the bidding process. So approximately a month later, we have bids in for you to consider.
Okay, so we're 1 month away from getting bids and when 6 weeks, and with the bids, we can make it.
If everything goes well.
Okay.
Which is not always the case around it.
Okay. It sounds like we're heading in the right direction.
Okay, moving on direction. Any further comments or questions before we go on? Okay. Moving on to item number 9, authorization for the president and secretary to execute the revocable permit agreement between the district and Skydive Santa Barbara.
Mr. President, this is as you just stated, this would allow this group to come here intermittently and perform skydiving. I believe they've done this in the past. Maybe for 1 year.
Yeah, they have done it in the past. Make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Moving on to item number 10, authorization for the president and secretary to execute the service agreement between the district and Tartelli Engineering for the Foxenwood drainage study.
Mr. President, you may recall part of our G3 commitment is to make drainage improvements. And so this would facilitate that. This is, you may, I'm sure you know, the G3 project, the first phase was approved by the city council a couple months ago, and they're preparing to start. And the lead into that is there some drainage improvements that we're responsible for. And we have to do that work, and so we asked for your approval so we can begin.
So I'm seeing here that's for 7,300. Looking for the Foxenwood Lane storm drainage.
Yeah, it's for that.
Make a motion to approve it.
We have a motion, do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Now, moving on to item number 11, resolution 930, a resolution of the Board of Directors of San Diego Public Airport District amending the rates and charges for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Mr. President, you obviously know this is continued from the last meeting. I'd just like to share some context. This is all things that have been discussed in this room in the past. It's important that folks understand some of the things, and I was hoping that Tortelli would be here, and they would have addressed all this, but they aren't. We just finished our phase 1 of taxiway alpha, which was federally funded, but that's 90%. So we spent $900,000 local match. We have a runway, and I know there are people in this room who will support me when I say this, that is in dire need of rehabilitation. My understanding is the last time I saw an overlay was in the early 90s. That it expects payment life to be about 20 years. So we're literally a decade behind when the runway should have been last overlay. And you've been out there with me. And the concern shared with me with some people in this room, I have confirmed. That's why we had to do $1 million of emergency repairs. We're going to probably actually provide another 100K. So we do it's called a P608 Gilsonite refurbishment, basically glue the touchdown point together until we can get to a runway project. I look at that $1 million that we spent, and it should have been $1 million towards matching a $1 million or $10 million AIP project. So because we, for whatever reason, didn't get a project done in the last 10 years, we now had to spend 100% of our own money to glue it together so we can get to a project. And that money should have been spent to match that proper project. A little frustrating from my point of view. We have a landside improvement project you folks approved some time ago for 1.6 million, all locally funded. Look at the condition of our pavement. Those streets should have been repaved at least a decade ago. Now the chickens have come home to roost. No more kicking the can down the road. Now we have to spend 1.6 million because it's going to be gravel here in a second. Some places it is. We just talked about $1 million to fix a roof that should have been fixed 20 years ago. We have a 5-year airport capital improvement program that we submitted, which we submit every year to the FAA. The first 2 years of that include, we hope, because it's still up in the air because we've lost our federal funding because of our issues with Fish and Wildlife. So we have to repair that relationship so we turn the AIP tap back on. First 2 years, runway rehab, okay? Taxiway Alpha Phase 2 and the connecting taxiways, and hangar taxi lane rehabilitation. So the AIP match for that's $2 million in the next 2 years. The G3 property, the lease includes a cost sharing agreement where the district's going to provide $3.38 million. 1.38 will, at some point in the future, when it starts generating revenue for the lessee, will be reimbursed. But that's $2 million. 3.38 up front that we have to come up with, and $2 million we never see, other than rental revenue that comes from. We have a settlement agreement that I can't speak to because it's a legal matter that has yet to be resolved. We hope will be resolved shortly. But you know what that's going to be. It's not going to be cheap. And then we have Simcoe, which is another nightmare with the water board, that has a huge question mark on what that might cost. We're hoping there's ways that we won't have to pay anything with state funding. But it's that we got PFAS that we with the water board. No idea what that's going to cost. So I just wanted to put that out there for some context of millions of dollars that we have to come up with in the next few years, starting immediately. And I'm not sure how we're going to do that, frankly. Then you look at what we've already discussed. And the solution, we have to find a way to increase revenues. We can't subsidize people's hangar streets. We can't. We did some analysis. We ran the zip codes of the hangar tenants. 63% of them don't live in the district. So 2/3 of our hangar tenants have me no rents to. Or or essentially having their rents subsidized by the district taxpayers. I mean, it's everywhere else I've worked, the airports are run as an enterprise. They're not allowed to do that. They're meant to be off the general fund and self-sustaining. Santa Barbara's that way, San Luis Obispo's that way. I mean, we have to start thinking in those terms. If there's going to be any subsidy of anyone, it has to be programs that are beneficial to the general taxpayer that's providing that extra $2 million worth of tax revenue received that most airports don't see. So quite frankly, this is just my past year, the conclusion I've got millions of dollars worth of deferred maintenance for whatever reason. I've got subsidized rents, not just the hangar tanks, all over the place. Because we have this $2 million gift from the taxpayer. I mean, we got to do something. It's coming to a head. I'm worried about a perfect storm where all these commitments come together at the same time in the very near future, and we're going to be in a tough place. I mean, we shouldn't be talking about runway. It should have already been done. We shouldn't be talking about the big hangar roof. It should have already been done. We shouldn't be talking about these roads. It should have already been done. So that's all I want to share.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. I will now move this up to public session. The first person I have here is Robert Creedon from Norfolk. We go ahead and state your name for the record, please.
Good evening, my name is Robert Creedon. I'd like to verbally present a letter to the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association that I believe is also been electronically submitted to the board. Dear President Moreno and members of the Santa Maria Airport District Board, AOPA is the largest membership organization supporting the general aviation pilots and aircraft owners in the world, and we write to express our deep concerns with agenda item 11 and the resolution 930 implementing new rate structures for hangars at Santa Maria Airport. For the past several years, the Santa Maria Airport Board District has maintained cordial and collaborative relationship with the general aviation pilots, mechanics, and users of the airport. This cooperation has led to marginal increases in hangar rental rates and charges that were consistent on a year-to-year basis and usually follow the changes in the consumer price index. While the district is under no obligation to follow that standard, this practice is in harmony at the airport and prevent a sticker shock, allowing the airport environment to be healthy and supportive. Unfortunately, item 11 resolution 930 challenges this collaboration by proposing a 50% increase in hangar rental rates without seeking input from the tenants. The FAA has maintained in its rates and charges guidance that it is a fundamental position of the department that the issue of rates and charges is best addressed at the local level by agreement between users and airports. Moreover, federal guidance regarding changes to rates and charges from airport sponsors suggests airport proprietors should consult with aeronautical users well in advance, if practical, of introducing significant changes in charging systems and procedures or in the level of charges. Proprietors should provide adequate information to the aeronautical users to evaluate the airport proprietors' justification for the change and to assess the reasonableness of the proposal. Written information, studies, or reports were not provided to the users and that would identify or illustrate the financial needs of the airport justifying these massive increases. Nor were tenants or users given adequate notice that the district was considering these changes prior to enactment. If the district seeks additional revenue to offset costs of the airport, discussions with tenants and the airport users outlining these financial needs can be helpful in determining a future rate structure to address those needs while also providing an understanding of the airport's current financial situation. The current rates and charges schedule proposed for fiscal year 24-25 is inconsistent with recent rate adjustments and should warrant further discussion amongst airport user groups. To understand the financial difficulties airports must address, and are more than willing to collaborate to find adequate solutions. As tenants and airport users, we must also uphold our end of the deal by giving due regard to the use of the airport and the financial needs of the airport. But this process shouldn't proceed in a vacuum. I am happy to schedule or attend a meeting where our council or suggestions would be helpful in reaching a collaborative solution to this issue. Respectfully, Jerry Yoshiki, Western Pacific Regional Manager. Thank you.
Next up, I have Jordan Hahn from Northern California. Same thing, go ahead and state your name for the record.
Thank you. Good evening, Jordan Hahn here. I'm here today speaking on behalf of many of the tenants here at Santa Maria Airport, and that's a collective of pilots, aviation enthusiasts, small business owners, and just hardworking folks here who reside as tenants of this airport and are very deeply invested in the governance of it. This group comprises hardworking individuals from various backgrounds, including farmers, engineers, mechanics, and many small business owners. And they are a true reflection of the Santa Maria community, a hardworking blue-collar city that is centered on agriculture and very distinct from our neighbors in Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo. These individuals contribute to the vibrant general aviation culture that we cherish here at Santa Maria, a culture that the Santa Maria Airport District and its board of directors is chartered to both serve and promote. I'm here today to strongly oppose this resolution 930, which suggests a 50% hike in hangar rents. While we understand the board's financial constraints, we firmly believe that a blanket rent increase is both short-sighted, unjustified, and inequitable approach to addressing these revenue challenges. Such a move would significantly impact the heart of the Santa Maria Airport community here, this general aviation community in particular. Moreover, it risks worsening the current issue of hangar vacancies, which already stands at 9 hangars on the airport. Further rate hikes would worsen this situation, leading to a sharp decline in hangar revenue. And additionally, proposed increases contradict existing lease agreements held by several tenants. These agreements clearly state, and right here in black and white, that monthly rents may be increased from time to time based on the consumer price index. While inflation is indeed a concern, it has not surged 50% in this past year. Furthermore, comparing Santa Maria hangar rents to those of neighboring airports with hangar community median income much higher and cost of living is much higher than ours is not a fair benchmark, as it does not account for the unique socioeconomic factors that we have in our community here. Therefore, we, the tenants of Santa Maria Airport, request a postponement of the rent increase for the next 6 months, such which will allow time for us to collaborate with the board to gain a deeper understanding of the airport's financial situation and collectively develop a comprehensive, justifiable, and equitable path forward. When we say comprehensive, we mean a solution that explores all potential revenue incomes and cost-saving measures to ensure the financial well-being of the airport. While increasing hangar rents is often the easy button to hit, it should not be the sole method considered for the board for revenue generation. Additionally, we urge the board to explore significant cost-cutting measures. By justifiable, we mean a solution that ties hangar rent increases to specific airport financial goals and delivers value back to the hangar tenants, the general aviation community, and the Santa Maria taxpayers. By equitable, we mean a solution that takes into account the unique demographics of the Santa Maria community. Comparisons to the Santa Maria's lease rates to those of surrounding airports fail to consider the significant income disparity, cost of living differences, and primary business sector of our community. In conclusion, we formally request the postponement of the vote on this resolution for at least 6 months and urge the board to engage with the pilot community. We stand ready to better understand the need for increased rents and develop a comprehensive, justifiable, and equitable path forward. Thank you.
Next, I have Chase from Solvay.
Good evening. My name is Chase P. Hall. Members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, fellow citizens, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk. I sincerely appreciate it. Cherish the fact that I can speak my 2 cents on Proposition 930, increase of hangar rents. I too am a tenant at Santa Maria, and to date have enjoyed a fantastic relationship with you guys, the board, as well as the airport management and his team. Thank you. Thank you both sincerely. But now I've got concerns, and I hope that we can work through them together. Right? As you've heard, the FAA, AOPA, and tenants on the airport are all asking for the same thing when it comes to the proposed rent increase: justification, collaboration, buy-in, a phased approach, clearly defined uses for what potential funds might arise. Seems fair and valid. I'm supportive of 100%. We work together to get there. But to add to the conversation, I'd like to provide some statistics and figures to maybe clarify things. Market comparison. The median income in Santa Maria, $30,263 US Census Bureau. San Luis Obispo, $47,390 a year, 63.5%, 85% increase. Santa Barbara, 46,222, 52.7% higher than the median income of Santa Maria. Meanwhile, rent in Santa Maria averages out, according to Zillow, $2,600 a month. Santa Barbara, $4,800 a month for rent. San Luis Obispo, a little bit better, still above us at $2,700. Market comps doesn't justify the price increase. Spending. To date this year, we've seen 2 staff members and a board member go to Bogota, Colombia to talk about bringing airport traffic or increased airport traffic and commercial. We've seen anti-drone conference fees submitted and paid for a trip to the Washington metro area to conduct anti-drone studies. Travel to date, $63,453. $63,000. And these are all numbers that you approved this meeting. And the customs building, $783,000 in change. At the same time, from 2014 to 2023, revenue generation on hangars has gone up 37%. And while it's a growth generalization, it actually beats the CPI rate for the same time frame. At the same time, expenses for those same years have increased 69%. Okay? We got to take this into consideration. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know that we have a revenue problem. I'm a little concerned about our spending. I think we can address it. I think we should address it together in a collaborative environment. And I really genuinely hope that we do so. So thank you.
Next, we have Joel Riley. So could you say your name or address, or one city?
Yeah, my name's Joel Ryman. I'm an aircraft dealer. I'm based here for the last 37 years.
So what are you citizen for, Bill? Sorry.
Say again?
I'm sorry. I was supposed to say your address. So
Oh, so, well,
I'm in Ohio. Okay, thank you.
but I've been hanging here since 85 or 6 or something. Mine sell airplanes, that's the international, and bought a lot of airplanes in through Santa Maria, created a lot of revenue over the years, about 389 of them. So I contributed to the community. Right now, my interest is in having the resolution item to be reevaluated. Currently, I have 3 aircraft here, which I'm in the process of restoration work. Until last year, 3 airplanes have been the back burner due to problems I've had in back and otherwise. And so I haven't been able to get to them. I'm just now getting to them. Now resolution item 2 is hitting me hard. So I'd like to ask the consideration to give repealing 2. If not in its entirety, then perhaps being modified to reflect my extraordinary circumstances as well as others who might be in a position where it really doesn't reflect on their usage of the airport and so forth. And when I mean no disrespect at all, the full realization of that individuals have varied opinions and perspectives. But I personally feel the resolution act is fundamentally unfair and arbitrary. As best I can interpret it, there are no wording in there that speak to the requirements of this one. Or if you can hear no requirement, you only got to be flown, how much to be flown, how to deal with the purchase. The airport vendors and airport support facilities, private enterprises of all of them. I would like to patronize all of them, but I don't want to do it at, I have to do it at my own discretion, with my own capabilities. It's my capabilities right now, if that's not the case. Resolution 92 dictates how to spend money, literally forces me to spend money that I don't have, with penalties, fire license right now. They're going to get a license, so I'm seeking 6 or 7 months to be free of the dictates of penalties, so I can get that down in money. I don't have funds to personally to complete the work and pay the fines. So in order for me to get out of this mess, I need to be able to afford to finish the airplanes and have a mechanic work on them. You know, whether the aircraft are licensed or not airworthy, its sound releases do not require that airplanes be flown. There's suggestions in these, but there's nothing to do that mandates that we actually operate the aircraft. I'd like to contribute to biofuel and so forth, but it doesn't, it's not a requirement, so I don't know. It baffles me how Donaldson slipped into this where it causing some individuals to have an expense that doesn't reflect on the rate of money that would be made if the aircraft were flying and fuel revenue was 60 cents a gallon or something, would come to the airport. So, in any case,
Yeah, 30 seconds left.
okay, it's my understanding that resolution 92 is triggered by the results realized by Watsonville Airport, which offers me to increase fuel sales of byproduct of fuel receipts, which resulted in an increase in licensed aircraft being housed in Watsonville's 330 hangars. So I'm curious if that's why this resolution was enacted, and if you have seen an increase in revenue because of the requirement that the aircraft be licensed and currently flying airport. So I'd like to pitch that you consider. I have a more detailed description of what my thoughts are that I would like to give with everybody. Since that you can do. Okay. What can I do that?
Yeah, you
Michael from Santa Maria.
My name is Michael Chabay. I'm a Santa Maria resident, also a taxpayer of the airport district. I would encourage the board of directors to be good fiduciaries with taxpayer money and increase hangar rents that I understand have been below market rate for some time. In the age of post-COVID, that's pretty much unheard of. I'd rather see the tax dollars support the airport's efforts at maintaining facilities and infrastructure, which we have heard now is in badly need of revenue. I also would like to see the taxpayer dollars going towards possible expansion, not in terms of land, but also attracting airlines to the airport. And not subsidizing hangar rents that I mentioned seem to have been under market for quite some time for what essentially is in large part hobbies that involve luxury. So that's pretty good.
Vicky, Santa Maria.
I'm Vicki Connor. I live in Santa Maria, and I have, I understand that some of my tax dollars are helping support the district, and I started thinking about it. I think it's important to consider that the airport is such an asset to the community of Santa Maria. It has the potential to help businesses become more competitive. Those businesses then can provide more jobs, and all of us can travel more to see our friends and family. The better the airport does, the more flights it attracts and so forth. And so I think it's imperative that we move forward and just make whatever decisions we make to get as close to market rate as possible, as soon as possible, and whatever definition that market rate might be. And also consider how much an effect the decisions make on the community as a whole, which is what the airport, I think, the highest and best use of the airport is. Thank you.
I have two commissions that I will be reading out loud. Submitted May 7th, 2024. On behalf of the board and members of the Chamber of Commerce, I want to express the support of the Chamber for the proposed update to the San Diego Public Airport District's hangar rent schedule. As we understand the issue, the airport has maintained rents on airport-owned hangars well below market rates for many years. While this approach may have served to promote general aviation, it also resulted in reduced revenue that the airport needed to maintain, upgrade, and repair the hangars appropriately. It is also our understanding that the proposed rate, 40 cents per square foot, will still position the Santa Maria Airport's rate at the lower end of the scale for airports in our region, including SLO, Santa Barbara, Camarillo, and Long. We recognize the infrequent large increases can be challenging for tenants to absorb all at once. The reality is that further delay or small increases at this point will not bring the airport's fee schedule to an appropriate level. We would encourage the board to consider a policy of adjusting rates on a more regular, predictable schedule so that individual increases are easier to plan for and accept. Finally, we recognize that the board owes a duty to hangar tenants as customers. They owe an equal or perhaps higher duty to the citizens who live in the district, pay taxes to support the district. Ensuring that the assets of the district are well maintained without passing on costs unnecessarily to those taxpayers. It is our understanding that up to 60% of the current tenants are non-residents, meaning they are not paying taxes to support the airport as part of our community. Raising prices is never an easy decision for elected officials, but this proposal seems to be well-developed, balanced, and appropriate. Glenn Morris, President and CEO, Santa Maria County Community. Next up. I am writing on behalf of the Santa Barbara County Taxpayers Association to express our support for the increase in hangar tenant fees and market rates in the Santa Maria Public Airport District. As you know, the rental of public properties at below market rates has been held by the auditor of the state of California as constituting a gift of public funds, prohibited by the California Constitution. Elected officials do not have discretion to require taxpayers of the district to subsidize rental rates of private parties storing their airplanes. With this issue in mind, the Santa Barbara County Taxpayers Association recommends that the board approve resolution 930 as soon as possible. This will bring the hangar tenant fees in line with market rates and ensure compliance with legal requirements. The Santa Barbara County Taxpayers Association recognizes the Santa Maria Public Airport is an extraordinary asset to our county, as well as the military branches, commercial, and general aviation sectors. By upholding fair and market-driven economic practices at the airport, the district will enhance its overall efficiency and financial sustainability. We are confident the board will give appropriate consideration to this matter and take the necessary steps to align hangar tenant fees with market rates. Please feel free to share our position publicly during your board meeting this Thursday. If you would like further information or assistance, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you for your attention to this important issue and for your service to the community. Yours sincerely, Lanny Evanstein, PhD, President, Santa Barbara County Taxpayers Association. With that being said, we're now going to discussion. Anything to discuss?
President Moreno, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 930.
I am so sorry that it's going to impact you as much as you say that it's going to impact you. But I've been hired to do a job, and that's to make sure that I use this facility for the best and highest use for the taxpayers. On one side, I'm conflicted by looking at your faces, and I know that you're sincere about what you say. I know that. And on the other side, I'm conflicted because I have a job to do that I was paid, that I'm volunteering for, but that the taxpayers have put me in charge of. I'm voting to raise the taxes, raise the rate to 40 cents a square foot because it's lower than market rate. Market rate is 45%, 45 cents or more. It's lower than market rate. It's something that we've got to do.
I'm sorry if it displaces anybody in this room. But it's fair and equitable, and I'm voting yes.
Let's go ahead and we need a second.
I'll second.
Let's go ahead and, vote.
President Moreno,
Yes?
Director Clayton,
Yes.
Director Adams.
Yes. Moving on to item number 12, director's comments. Go ahead.
I have no comments.
Nathan, director's comments?
You just, this job is not easy. The people that are sitting in this room are my friends. The ones that are gonna heckle me on the radio, they're in this room. The ones that I've been in a limo with before, they're in this room. The ones that talk about on the radio that I support 110% because they're the backbone of our airport. I'm sorry if you don't like the decision that was made, but this has to be done. There's things that have to be paid. And if you're not the director, then I'd ask you to put your hand back down.
On comment. Michael, it's good. We're not open to public comment now, we're just doing director's comments, so.
And I'm doing the best I can at this job. I'll tell you that. I'm doing the best I can. And I'll tell you right now that 40 cents a square foot is a lot lower than just going right off of the airport. It's a lot lower than the other airports in general all around us. We need the money, and you say, buy in, you want to buy in? Okay, well, we're telling you what we're putting the money down on. We're telling you where the money is going. If you want to hear more about that, we would love to get into a discussion with you. It meets twice a month. It meets on, come on over and see us on the second and fourth Thursday. Come on over. Fill out your application. Go ahead and stand up here. We'll go do-si-do every time about anything you have. I know the other board members here, and I know that we grappled with this situation a lot. And we're not just raising the rents for the tenants here, we're raising the rents for everything out there. Everything that's out there that has a cost, we're raising our rates out there to come in line so we can have money, so we can keep this airport going. What you don't know, and what Martin alluded to, if you were listening, is he can't tell you about some of the things that we're gonna be obligated to pay. That's gonna sink our ship if we're not careful. So I'm sorry that you're gonna have to pay more, but so is the farmers out there, and so is everybody else. They're all gonna have to pay more. And hopefully, if we tighten our belt enough, and if we can make it through, and we can start getting our federal funding back in here that I know Martin is trying to get for us, because that's the answer to get that stuff repaved out there, to get all those hangars fixed. That's our direction. Buy into that. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just a volunteer. I don't take any money from this place. I'm giving you my best. And it's a volunteerism. That's all it is. Say whatever you want. I'm just a volunteer, just like these other ones here. We've got our professionals sitting over here on this side that know what they're talking about and know what they're doing. This district council here is guiding us past a couple of landmines that will sink us. And I can't believe when I got onto this to do this, I knocked on everybody's door and asked them, what do you want? We want airlines. So when I sat down, all right, we want airlines. Holy, wait a minute. What? We've got these massive problems here that's gonna sink our ship? How are we gonna pay for that? Martin, I don't know. How are we paying for this? There's too much on our plate. There's a lot. And you will know very shortly. And when you do, you'll go, that's what he was talking about. And why he was saying that. We'll go into more detail. I'm gonna get on radio and TV and I'm gonna tell you everything, period. I'm not hiding nothing. But right now, we can't talk about it. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So get ready, buckle up. I want everybody to have their place, buckle up. That's all I gotta say.
What about next year, Michael? And the year after that, what about the next year?
All right. No. We had public session earlier. This is not public session. If you would like public session, the next meeting we have, come on in, write it in, we'll do it. Michael said his comment. Let's go ahead and get this, going there. So, thank you to everyone who attended here today. And thank you to those who submitted public comment. Really appreciate that. Deciding to raise rates has been difficult. It has. If I can speak selfishly for a second, I would have loved to, rent at 25 cents a square foot. And I would have, here during 2010 years, it would have been fantastic. I understand it. I get it. But it's not about what I want. It's not about what this group wants here. It's about what the local community needs. It's about what this airport needs. It's about not continuing the historic mismanagement of not just the airport, but the public funds.
Give your staff another raise.
That's a yearly raise, but anyway, I agree that our communication with the tenant community could have been better. As you can see, we've had a whole bunch of issues here. We rely on these meetings held twice a month to provide information to the world. Twice a month, every month. We have these meetings, they're open to the public. As you can see, you guys are here. These meetings are historically empty. Am I wrong? They're historically empty. The airport is already working on a fix to this. And with the reformation of the community that I witnessed the other day, I look forward to improving this airport with you guys. It's like, there you go. I'll make a motion to adjourn. I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.